Have you checked the children? Your little mad
Hi, I'm Chucky. Wanna play?
Sometimes that is better.
You're gonna need a bigger boat.
Howdy folks, welcome to the Horror Show. I'm Robert the Wolfman.
And you got Jaime and Fuego here, and welcome for another Patreon review. So very stoked for all of those who continue to support us here at the Horror Show. And we are doing some, well, it's not quite spring, but it's like, midwinter cleaning and getting caught up because, yes, this is the November poll selection. Yes, it's early February when we're finally doing this, but between Captain Trips and the holidays, we had some catch up to do. So thank you for everybody's patience who voted in this, or if you're new to being a patron, that's totally rad status. We were talking about the kind of horror film, The Skulls. Yeah,
Kind of, conspiracy?
mystery thriller, maybe?
Yeah, secret society
drama,
kind of thing.
little romance. I don't know.
This was all over the place.
This is a PG-13 like teeny kind of movie
Oh,
that came
absolutely.
out, and I never watched this until I saw it on the spreadsheet.
Really?
I had never seen this movie. It was at the time where I was getting a little bit older. I think I was in my early 20s by the time this came out.
Okay.
And so I was just like, oh, it's pacey, and it's the dude from Fast and the Furious. Rest peacefully, Paul Walker.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Joshua
and
Jackson.
it looked at. I mean, anytime I saw a film like this coming out in the mid to late '90s, early 2000s, in the heyday of the WB, which would eventually become the CW, and you saw a lot of actors from a lot of those shows and horror, thriller, teeny sort of things at the time. But anytime I noticed PG-13, like fucking Teaching Mrs. Tingle or something like that, I was like,
oh my god, I forgot about that movie.
I was like, I guess I don't have to sneak into this one necessarily. By the time I got to be old enough, it didn't really matter. But The Skulls was one of those movies. I think it came out in 2000, so I was 16, 17, so I'm aging myself here. But nonetheless, I thought it looked lame, and upon finally watching it, it wasn't as bad as I expected it to be. It's not great by any means, and I wouldn't even say it's an introductory horror, but it did deal with a few themes, especially with secret societies. And I mean, you watch like the Stonecutters on The Simpsons, and you've got all of these things like the Build-A-Burgers and all. I mean, I have so many friends that are into conspiracy theorists.
Build-A-Bear.
Like Build-A-Bear, that's it. Build-A-Burgers.
I don't know. It's not Build-A-Bear.
Yeah, it's a sandwich chain. I don't freaking know. I just always think of Stonecutters from The Simpsons. But nonetheless, yeah, you've got, as far as overall thoughts, it's not a great movie, but I was going in expecting like a big turd, and it was all right. There was some. I still dig Pacey, even though I was a Dawson dude back in the day. He's all right in this. Walker's good. Some of the other supporting cast is familiar faces. Many saw in these sort of teen-geared films, around this time. So you'll recognize a lot of the bit players and supporters here too. But I'm trying to remember who the love interest is now.
Yeah, I don't.
Because I know she was in tons of things, and I'm not going to consult. But actually, maybe I'll consult while you give your random thoughts.
So overall thoughts, it was enjoyable enough. I remember seeing it. I think I was probably maybe like 13 or something, 14 when I first originally saw this.
In theaters or
no, rented and everything like that when we still had the video rentals from Hollywood Video. In fact,
we miss you guys.
Yeah, I know, right? Again, dating myself.
Oh wow, I didn't realize Rob Cohen directed this movie.
Oh really?
Damn,
Okay.
Yeah.
But anyways, yeah, it was fun enough. It was just one of those early 2000s kind of teen drama, secret society kind of things.
Yeah.
With your up and coming kind of heartthrobs and stuff like that. Because Joshua Jackson from Dawson's Creek.
Oh, that's
and whatever.
right. Coach is in this. Craig T. Nelson.
Oh, he was.
Yeah. Yeah, he was one of the fathers. Yeah.
He was Paul Walker's
Paul Walker's
dad.
father.
That's what it was. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then even Paul Walker coming off probably like Joyride and things like that, and Fast and Furious. But yeah, everyone.
Yeah. Rob Cohen was the guy who did the first Fast, and I think he did at least
he do
another
Fast
one or
and
two.
Furious?
Fast and the Furious, Triple X. Like he was doing a bunch of those back in the
Okay, I
early
didn't realize
2000s.
that. But yeah. Anyways, it's a fun enough movie. Nothing really to write home about. Nothing really super special.
I'm surprised this won the poll, dude. Like, what else was this going against?
I
I really need to keep a better eye on that stuff.
I don't know. Yeah, other than that, I really don't have much much else to say about it. It was okay.
Yeah. Yeah, so I mean, story-wise, Pacey, aka Joshua Jackson, who was terrific recently in a Peacock show called Dr. Death about a real-life surgeon.
Remember you
in
guys talking
Texas.
about
Dude,
that.
Dude, that show's great.
Yeah?
It's like true crime, medical horror sort of stuff. Nothing to the degree of like Dr. Giggles or anything.
Yeah.
But nonetheless, he's great in that. He was great in Fringe, and so he's a lot younger. You know, Dawson's Creek was still on the air at this particular time, but he's good as this kid who basically gets invited into what you think is a fraternity, and turns out it goes way deeper than that as far as connectivity, intricacies, and he becomes a social climber because he doesn't really have the amount of money to go through. I think he's going through law school, if I remember, and he buddies up with Paul Walker because they get paired together during an initiation ritual. He helps save his life, and then they become fast friends, and it turns into one of those, okay, you're losing sight of your friends and your long-standing female interest because of the fact that you're just so caught up in, you know, the status climbing and the opportunities that getting deeper into this sort of affiliation can bring you. So, I mean, not bad, but nothing as far as like supremely revolutionary, although I did find some of the extent of connections that this Society of Skulls or whatever they call themselves
because like, you know, apparently it is a real secret society. I think it's based through Harvard, I believe it is.
Yeah,
like
it was a back east Ivy League school for sure.
Yeah, and like reportedly even like the George W. and everything like that, and even, Bush Senior, they were all part of the Skull Society and things like that. Yeah. Don't quote me on it. It's just rumors.
Important people, and in the film, and in the film, you see the fact that there is a political connection as well.
Absolutely.
Isn't it like the governor, if I remember correctly? He's a member.
They all talk about like with all the connections you'll gain from the society and everything. It's all goes through the politics and things like that. They're breeding basically the elite society.
Yeah, and there is still like a splintering of division within this Society of the Skulls as well, as far as like extremity goes.
Yeah, and how far are you willing to go to basically retain the power or get as far into this society as you can?
And as you by the books fashion that this film does kind of function within a little bit, obviously Joshua Jackson's character starts to realize maybe this isn't all I thought it was cracked up to be, and just the conflict that arises from him just thinking he doesn't want to be involved, and it just really runs from there without us being able to spoil stuff. But yeah, there's a lot of familiar aspects to this, and so for that reason, I guess going in with lowered expectations was better, you know, than coming in thinking it was going to be anything that was going to knock my socks off. So yes, very thoroughly mediocre in a lot of ways, but I know that this is kind of a cult film for certain people and certain, you know, age ranges, and you know. Yeah,
because I think this spawned at least like one.
Oh, there was some
maybe
direct-to-video shit
two
afterwards.
Sequels and everything. Yeah, obviously direct-to-video and whatnot.
DVOD.
But other than that, like cinematography, personally, there wasn't anything special. It was pretty generic. Nothing really stood out. I don't know
Yeah, same as in our previous review. I felt like some of the locations back east, that especially this campus alone, was cool. Some of the stuff in the castles was pretty rad.
Yeah,
and
like
actually had some cool tension to it.
Some of the set designs and everything were pretty cool, especially once you got into like the chamber hall and things like that.
Yeah, and also just the construction of the castle with like the moat around it, and the early bit where Walker and Jackson are paired together and they have to like jump off the top and everything. And I mean, I thought all of that stuff was pretty. It's not poorly shot. Rob Cohen was having done, I don't know if he had done any of the Fast and the Furiouses up to this point or any of the Triple X's, but they were all late 90s, early 2000s films when those franchises were starting. And his stuff is slick, you know, it's not far off from like a Mick G
it's not cheap or choppy. It's crisp and everything like that, but
I'm curious.
Nothing special.
Yeah, and it made money. You know, $15 million budget, and it hauled in almost $51 million. So it was profitable. Hence those direct-to-video sequels that we got.
Yeah. Well, also too, you had the names at the time pulling people in.
Truly, yeah, because Dawson's Creek and pretty much all of the WB stuff. I think I know Buffy was on at that time. I think Roswell was also going. So all of that like genre and like tween, teeny, love-centric sort of stuff.
Yeah, they were all starting to kind of do their transition from strictly like TV kind of stuff to more of like the mainstream movies and things like that.
Yeah, this one was definitely PG-13. In our last review that we were discussing, we couldn't remember if Skinwalkers was R or PG-13. This I know is PG-13. It was very restrained and I mean, it
definitely had a targeted audience. That was definite.
Yeah, I had seen Paul Walker previous to this in that football comedy Varsity Blues, which I really enjoyed.
Yeah, honestly, as much as like people still kind of talk crap about the movie, it was fun.
Yeah, I like that movie.
You know, it was fun.
Yeah.
Music, anything really stick out to you?
If I remember correctly, having been a few weeks since I watched it, there was kind of that late 90s, early aughts, like alternative rockish sort of soundtrack, and maybe I recognized a tune or two. That was the audience they were playing to, though. You know, I was listening to The Edge here in Phoenix around that time, and yeah, you know, some of the stuff they play, if you grew up in that era and were listening to alternative rock radio, you probably would have recognized, but nothing that just booms in my ears that I recalled. So.
Yep. Other than that,
anything else? Yeah,
I don't really think I pretty much think we're probably going to call it on that.
Yeah, it's not really being PG-13 and also not horror in the traditional sense at all. There's not like a lot of gore. I mean, there's some death here and there.
It's more of just a thriller. It's kind of aspect.
Yeah, so lower stakes for sure as far as like any major amounts of body count or lost characters or anything like that. So, This is a film that for me is very of its era, most definitely, for better or for worse.
Yeah, and with most movies and everything, I'll always recommend you guys, if you haven't watched it, watch it at least once and then go from there.
Yeah, I feel like I should see if it's streaming anywhere here at the very end of the review as you finish that thought.
Yeah, no, good. But yeah, like I said, go check it out if you guys haven't yet. It's at least worth a watch, especially if you are a fan of like Joshua Jackson or
still going strong,
Paul Walker and things like that.
It's on Tubi. Everything seems to be on Tubi as far as genre-centric
free right up on
right
Tubi.
now.
You don't have to pay nothing for it.
Yeah, exactly. Nothing but chilling in
But other than that, I think we're gonna call it here at the Horror Show.
Cut it out.
Thank you guys again for the Patreon request. If you guys want to become a patron, links down here in the description box. Hit that link. Also, please hit subscribe. Share this video with your friends. Hit that notification bell. Keep up to date with all of our good content that we have coming out every day for you guys. Other than that, from the Horror Show, I've been Rob with Wolfman.
And gracias, I've been Jaime and Fuego, and remember,
stay scared.